Welcome to the PNN. This is Tyler on a special news report. Recent events in Louisiana have prompted action from the PNN to go in and investigate. It's going to be a tragedy to see those statues come down. Napoleon was a great hero of mine and Raj. We wouldn't have Napoleon ice cream. We wouldn't be able to say that little people, short people, or midgets have Napoleon complex. We wouldn't have been able to win World War II. And to see that city taking down those statues is a tragedy. We're going to go in and investigate and give you clear, honest reporting that you can't find anywhere else. Raj is unable to accompany me on this trip, but I want to give you the best that I can, as honest as I can, from what you've come to expect from the PNN. To all the viewers out there that are concerned for my safety, I thank you. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You might have to go on with only Raj as being the only reporter for the PNN currently. That in and of itself would be a pretty big tragedy. I wonder if the city is removing the statues because somehow they connect the Hurricane Katrina, or all hurricanes, with the statues. Or perhaps if they blame the city's high crime rate on the statues, and if by getting rid of the statues they can solve that high crime rate. I also wonder if the city is removing the statues as a way to reduce traffic fatalities. Last year alone, 2 people were killed because they were looking at the statues instead of focusing on the road. So I wonder if they think by removing the statues, then less people will be killed driving. And I'm all for safety whilst behind the wheel. It's always a good thing. We support that here at the PNN. Don't text and drive. Got the PNN live on the scene here at the last remaining Napoleon statue before they tear it down. We were live here on the scene at the last Napoleon statue. Had to go to off audio just because the protesters were so loud. I had some people yelling at me. They didn't like to see the camera there. Well, we took some zoom-in views of Napoleon, but then we stepped actually into the park across the street. Saw a good number of protesters. Some people were there with signs, but they were walking away at the time of this filming. I think they were paid protesters taking some of their mandatory breaks, perhaps. A lot of people there were pretty upset about it. Some people were there, didn't even realize the statue was coming down. There was a person there from Canada who had a personal tribute to pay to Napoleon, but I told her the statue was coming down. She was pretty distraught about it. As you approach the statue, New Orleans City Police Department had put out passive riot control devices in front of the statue, thinking that would perhaps stop protesters or rioters. As you'll see in later footage, it did not. Some people got through, unfortunately. This whole scene was just pretty tragic, pretty solemn scene. A lot of people were trying to pay their respects, give the general one last salute before he would be carted off to God knows where. The vegetation around here was pretty green. I suspect that will change after the statue's removed. I'm sure they'll probably tear it all up, unfortunately. So that's also tragic as well. Had some people there taking photos and all, but a lot of people were just solemn at the time, waiting for protesters to return. However, the PNN were very, very good about getting around these barriers here. We saw some paid protesters sitting there. They were doing a silent protest, a sit-in on the statue. New Orleans passive riot control devices just couldn't keep everybody out. There's signs on the ground, fire barrels around the corner. Also, it would appear to be some sort of Illuminati, perhaps Jewish vandalism was on the statue, as you can see in the photos and the videos. Unfortunately, we did not see who was doing that. I'm sure if we had, we would have maybe been able to stop them. The inappropriate language that they used and all. Um, there was kids around there, and that's just really inappropriate. So as you can see here, the New Orleans Police Department put out some signs here saying no parking. That means the sign is probably going to come down sometime soon. More protesters were on the way in, walking towards the statue. We passed a bird here that was dying on the way back. It seems like that might have been because of tear gas that was sprayed earlier, or perhaps some sort of nerve agent. I'm not really sure what that was. But this was all going down right next to the Confederate Museum. I'm sure those guys inside were pretty sad that their famous colonel was being taken down. A lot of those guys, they remember the Vietnam War and all, so that's just really tragic. But as PNN, we're closing out. We're happy to bring you this live action news. Please always consider there might be alternative facts. Check us in next week.